Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Profiles in Risk. I am your host, Nick Lamparelli. It's very much a pleasure of mine to introduce Christopher Paradiso. Chris is the owner of Paradiso Insurance. For those that follow Profiles in Risk and Insurance Nerds, you're probably following Chris on social media. It's an agency based in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Chris also created Paradiso Presents, a business devoted to helping independent insurance agents find their voice online, establish a brand in their community that can resonate, sorry about that, and embrace digital marketing to help them compete with the big guys. Chris, I feel like I've known you forever, but this is actually the first time we've ever met.
Absolutely. Great to meet you.
And that's one of the advantages of social media, right? That's one of the advantages of our ability to market and brand in this new realm is when we do get these conversations, and I'm now talking to you, it's like a warm lead. Like, I feel like I've known you for a long time. I know a lot about you without ever having to meet you in person, and that's an advantage in this day and age.
It is. I think that's what makes social media an extremely powerful tool. We get to create a relationship before we ever actually physically meet or even talk on the phone.
Yeah. Can you spend a couple minutes talk about your mission?
Sure. Our mission, my mission is a little different than the agency's mission. My mission in life is really, I love being an independent agent, but my passion is my kids. Be the best possible dad possible is my real mission in life since my kids were born. My other mission is really to help generate awareness for people with disabilities like my sister. Most people have a passion, and my passion is really Special Olympics and people with intellectual disabilities, people who were born in the old way, or the old verbiage was mental retardation. I know it's a word that's not used often. I'm probably a guy that you're shocked to hear that would say that, but it really understands on, helping people. So many people have disabilities, whether it's autism, but my passion is helping people like my sister, a foundation called Journey Found, really giving back to them as much as possible to be able to help people have a successful life in the senses of being able to do things that they may not have been able to do without funding and without people being involved. So we get involved.
Yeah, and that's a great mission. And I know from following you on social media that I'll see that you're active in events and raising money and doing those sorts of things. Let's focus on that mission before we get into the insurance part of that stuff. Can you talk about some of the events that you do, and also money that gets raised? How does it get allocated and used to help these individuals?
Well, my father founded Journey Found. We're not a foundation. JourneyFound.org is not a foundation that, and I'm not criticizing, but I'm going to just lay the foundation that it's not founded in order to give his family jobs. Like some NBA players or professional athletes, where they start foundations and they give their family members jobs. There is nobody in here making any money. What I mean by that, no family members. We are 100% an organization that's it is a nonprofit, and my father that founded it, his goal was to be able to leave my sister in a better place, along with people who are like her with intellectual disabilities, a safe place, not to just 100% rely on the government to take care of them. Because unfortunately, here in Connecticut, as we saw yesterday, they want to cut a bunch of funding for Special Olympics. First of all, there's not much funding there is for Special Olympics to begin with, other than allowing them to use, state university, the dorm rooms, and maybe a little bit of police. But other than that, it's 100% volunteer work. So it's absolutely key to be able to give back to such a great organization and to be able to be involved in. So the funds go to something my father had started, which was an endowment. The key thing about the endowment, and the reason why I got behind my father in the endowment, not because it's my father, but because I'm trying to help him live out his dream. And his dream is really, who's going to help take care of his daughter, my sister, when he's gone? And the endowment is all about raising funds and putting money into funds that the organization cannot use. I'll repeat, the organization cannot use. They only have the rights to use the interest and or gains that it makes. So if there's $5 million that has been donated to that endowment, whatever it grows, if it grows to 5.1 million, they only get the 0.1 million.
Yeah.
So the key factor is I really wanted to get behind him. And so that's what Paradiso Presents is all about, is giving back dollars and cents to an endowment. Just like Paradiso Insurance, anything we can do to raise money, or when we can raise money, we want to give back to the endowment, because it's all about how do we get that endowment up so that it can take care of not only my sister, but the thousands of others that have intellectual disabilities.
Yep. I salute you. That's a worthy mission. And, we get focused on our day-to-day jobs, thinking our lives revolve around work, money, insurance, when it's actually how do we help one another. So
I agree. And it's not about a pat on my back. I appreciate you saying kudos, but the kudos is inside. And as I was with a client an hour ago, I said to him, I said, you want a life check? Because he's stressed out. He's a very successful businessman. I said, do me a favor. Come with me, not because it's with me. Spend Friday, Saturday, and Sunday down at the State University when the state puts on Special Olympics. That Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday, you'll go home. Your life will be changed. Your outlook on life will have changed. Not of anything you've done, just by seeing the people around you with intellectual disabilities, and some of them are Down syndrome, seeing the attitude and the way they live life, change your life forever.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, I'll make sure we get the appropriate links on the show notes for anyone that's interested in helping Chris out with that. And now that we got the heavy mission stuff out of the way, the important stuff, we can go into the less important stuff and talk about insurance. And so just a quick primer. How did you get into it?
Got into it, a gentleman. So I grew up playing basketball. I was very fortunate. Played college basketball. And
where'd you play?
I played at Anna Maria College, is where I graduated from, but I also played at Western Connecticut State University, and then transferred over to Anna Maria and finished my career out there. But what really took place was the ability to be able to, grow up playing basketball and having the opportunities of playing basketball, and then going to college and being able to play basketball helped me become a better student. So the interesting thing is how basketball's played a role in my life. Sports, baseball, I was a baseball team too, and better baseball player than basketball. Just love basketball more, faster, upbeat. Anybody that knows me knows I have ADHD, so of course I like basketball better. So
that's fantastic. Let's talk about marketing.
Sure.
At what point in your insurance career, as you were working your way through, did you recognize the importance of marketing to your ultimate success?
Yeah, I think in 2008, I had a, when you look yourself in the mirror, and I think my father's taught me this with business, fortunate to own several businesses in different industries. And, you look yourself in the mirror and you do a gut check, are you okay being average? And my father always said, some people are okay being average, and that's okay. But if you're not okay being average, look yourself in the mirror and really do a gut check. And what that will do, if you really want to be successful, is, are you willing to put yourself in uncomfortable situations? Mm-hmm. And that's key. And so in 2008, I really did a gut check. And I really, I was able to meet somebody who's played in became a mentor in my life, business and not business. He's super successful and really challenged me to, you know, this in 2019 is kind of almost a 10-year anniversary. And what I said in January, this year is going to be the year of getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's really what he challenged me in late 2008 and 2009 with the marketing. And yes, he is in the insurance space. Was able to spend the last 2 days with him. He sits on the advisory board of Rough Notes, and that's where I met him. And really, really pushed the envelope to say, hey, you know, there is much more to this insurance business and business as a whole, looking at marketing and really making yourself uncomfortable. So I did something I really wasn't comfortable doing, and I kind of enjoyed it. I guess that's
okay. For my purposes, what does that mean? Being uncomfortable? Does that mean just being creative in your copy, or does that mean pushing the envelope, drama, and all that stuff?
What it means
Talk
is
about what makes it
out there. You know, being uncomfortable is put yourself out there, challenge people. For example, let me just give you a quick example about being uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
I am passionate about standing for the flag in the national anthem. Okay. I can understand that everybody who's died for this country has given you the right to kneel if you so choose and you want to kneel. But my passion is to teach and educate people why I believe in what I believe. And I believe that we should stand out of respect. Okay. And I will always say, our president today brings a lot of controversy. Some people respect him, some people don't. At the end of the day, he's our president. And at the end of the day, it's a respect. We have to respect our president, even if we so choose we don't agree with him and we don't vote for him. Doesn't matter. I feel it's the same way. Yep. So when it comes to marketing, we have to stand for something. One of the greatest quotes that I will ever, and I live by this quote, is Winston Churchill. You had enemies? Good. You stood for something in your life. Mm-hmm. You know, the other quote that comes up that's very often from him is, you were born original, don't die a copy. And those are really strong, bold statements if you really look into them. And think about marketing. Think about what Nike did. Most people say, why aren't you out there killing Nike and crushing Nike? You stand for everything opposite of what Nike stands for, because they stand for kneeling, and they're taking a more social avenue. It's not about disrespecting Nike. You know what it's about? I respect Nike for their stance. It allows me to know that maybe I'm a guy that's probably not going to buy another Nike thing, nor are my kids. Mm-hmm. But you know what it does? At least Nike took a stance. Doesn't mean I agree with the stance, but that's what's being uncomfortable. Are you comfortable putting yourself out there and sharing with the world and being able, because when you're comfortable doing that, you're going to be, you know, people are going to take shots at you. Yeah. Everybody agrees with me about standing for the flag. Our logo is on the front of our t-shirts. Our t-shirts say, we stand for the flag, we kneel for our fallen. I've given out thousands of those t-shirts. Thousands of people agree with me, and I can guarantee you thousands of people probably disagree with me. But it's okay. I'm okay with the people who disagree with me. I'm not okay with you just, you know, throwing shots out there, but challenge me in why. Bring your reasons why. I always tell my son, bring your reasons why. If you believe in something, have a reason and a passion on why you might believe in it. Don't just say, I believe in it. Yeah. That's what I mean by being, you know, being uncomfortable, because it's not uncomfortable for me to put my stance out there, but it's not always comfortable to sit there and take shots.
Yep. So that's going to be hard for a lot of agencies to hear and execute on, because that's incredibly uncomfortable, and they're going to think, I might lose a lot of business. So if we transition over to the agencies themselves and the type of advice and help that you give them, let's take this stance as one particular avenue. What else do they get wrong in their marketing?
I think the biggest thing that we do wrong is we in the agency world do not create a brand, period. What is a brand? Well, yep. we need to identify what is that brand. who you are and what do you stand for? What does your organization stand for? Another big thing that we have for issues in the insurance space is, for example, Chris Paradiso and Paradiso Insurance. At the end of the day, no matter what we do, that brand will always cross, right? And if it crosses, we have to be careful. But can we really be careful? No, because if Chris Paradiso believes that standing for the flag is that critical, how does Paradiso Insurance shy away from that? And I just trying to give an example. So I think personal brand and the agency brand is by far the biggest and missing thing that in marketing that we have in the insurance space. So let me just ask you a quick question there.
Yep.
What is the brand of Geico?
What is the brand? Inexpensive insurance.
Why?
Because they're always 15 minutes, 15%. You'll see 50%.
Every message, I don't care if that message is on TV. I don't care if it's on a billboard. I don't care if it's in print. I don't care if it's in an ad on a commercial. I don't care if it's on YouTube. At the end of the day, they tell you two things. It's the only brand. Cheap and fast, cheap and fast, cheap and fast. And what does it do? It literally just pounds you. So think about Progressive, and I'm not going to knock Progressive, but let's think about their brand. Name that price. Price gun. Everything is driven towards price. So we would probably say cheap, right? Because it's price driven. So, but we know what their brand is. We know what Flo's message is. So it's not about whether their message is right or wrong. Their messages are wrong for Paradiso Insurance, but they may be right for your agency. At the end of the day, they are branding their message that we independent agents are not doing.
So when it comes to brand, though, there's got to be a strategy to it. You have to think really deeply about that. How should an agency go about doing that work?
Great message. First and foremost, every agency needs a brand guide. I'll repeat that.
Brand guide.
That takes my 2-day workshop, 3-day workshop. I don't care what it is. At the end of the day, you and your agency needs a brand guide, period. If you do not have a brand guide, you will never get the same ROI as somebody who does. Impossible. And if you want to challenge me, I would tell you the #1 brand in the world is Apple. Why don't you Google Apple's brand guide and take a peek at it? And it's not about me being right or wrong. It's about if brand is that important, and brand may not be important to some people. I get it. But if you're going to be marketing, social media marketing, digital marketing, having a profitable website is still, you need a brand guide. And it's going to all start with the colors of your logo, the colors of your website. Because have you ever looked into the psychology of color? It's deep. And if you ever looked at most insurance, including carriers, you'll notice how much blue is involved. What does the color blue stand for?
I don't know.
Trust.
Trust? Okay.
Trust. So I would challenge you and say, hey, take a deep dive, work with a company. We use agency Appeal, who did our brand guide, Agency Performance Partners. We absolutely loved their work. Couldn't say enough good about it. And that brand guide is our brand Bible. Everything that gets posted on any social platforms has to go through and make sure that it's brand approved.
Yeah. No,
that is the start. I mean, I will tell you that changed my world. That changed the agency's world. That's changed a lot of other agencies' world when I've convinced them to say, hey, I'm not telling you have to go to Kelly or Agency Appeal or Agency Performance Partners. Find somebody to be able to do a brand guide. And if you want to understand and look at a brand guide, I'm happy to share my brand guide and email you my brand guide so that you can see it. It's 36 pages. Tells you the colors, tells you the fonts, tells you the size, talks about what is brand approved and what isn't, what clashes and says and goes against our brand. It is an extensive little workbook and guide for our agency on everything we do in the social and media world.
Yeah. When you brought up color, I immediately thought of IBM.
Yep.
And the salespeople They were very well known for wearing blue suits.
Yep.
Right? They had a certain color. They might have even called it IBM blue. I don't know. But it was very well known. And apparently there's like a lot of studies that show that salespeople that wear brown suits significantly outperform salespeople that wear blue suits. So, yeah.
I would believe that. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's hard to believe, but that we could fall prey. Humans could fall prey to something that subtle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Look about Apple. How about when the Apple Store first came out? You look at it; it's so clean. There's not almost nothing in there. How much product do they actually have in an Apple Store?
I would know. I mean, because they only have the few displays.
Yeah. So and then you saw Microsoft, right? You saw all these other stores copy what they were doing, and it was kind of interesting because most people and most stores want to put as much as possible to keep it in front of you. They don't. They want to keep as little as possible. One of each of everything, so you can play around and fool around with it, and then in the back everything is all perfectly stored. You don't see anything. It's very clean. It's just like their phones. There's so much more to your agency brand than thinking of just color or just logo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much more that goes into it, and the more you dig into it, and it doesn't stop there. How about all your print, your envelopes, your postcards, your birthday cards, your videos? There's just so much that goes into brand that, I mean, I could beat a dead horse for an hour on brand and tell you we probably have another 8 hours more to go.
Well, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this for 8 hours and break the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest podcast. I'm just kidding. We are going to continue this though, because you talked about a whole bunch of things regarding brand, and to me, part of that as well is the reputational aspect that comes from your operations.
Absolutely.
How you get things done and whether you're good. It does. To me, I think a mistake that I see people make is they spend so much effort trying to convince the market of what their brand is. And I remember reading some marketing professional said your customers decide who your brand is. All you can do is try to persuade them there. But if your service sucks, your products stink. Yep. It doesn't matter what colors you have. It doesn't matter if you optimize that. You have to optimize your business first in order for the brand to actually take hold. All that stuff is just icing on the cake. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. One really quick example, and everybody's going to smirk. What company was as bold as to say is, we don't feel we need to change right now. We just had a banner year last year, record numbers. Blockbuster. There's one store left of Blockbuster. Mm-hmm. Now, they were in every state, in every town. I mean, I don't know. They were just everywhere. They're gone. They're gone because people have changed, and your brand didn't matter. You didn't keep up with what they wanted, which was convenience.
Yeah, completely. But I see it all the time.
You hit a nerve with me, Nick, when you said when you suck, your products stink. Well, and you talked quickly about what other people think. Well, first and foremost, the number one thing when I ask people to write 3 things about your brand and what your agency stands for, the number one thing people always tell me is we give great service. I said, perfect. Now I'm going to back up. You give great service. Do you survey your customers, Nick? What do you think the answer is?
I'm sure everyone says they do.
No, 70% say they don't.
Oh,
so I would say that 70% is, whoa, we can't say, this is not self-proclaimed giving great service. Giving great service, the only people that can say you give service is your customers.
Correct.
The people who do business, whether you call them clients or customers. That's another debatable thing, right? But at the end of the day, if you're not surveying your customers, you have no right to say you give great service.
Correct.
Otherwise, that's saying I'm the heavyweight. I could be the greatest heavyweight boxer ever. Well, in my mind, but it's not a fact. The fact is that's why we use rocket referrals, because what do I want to know? I want to share with my teammates how well we're doing, and when we stink, how do we improve? Because one of my close friends, Mike Stromstone, always says, you win or you learn. My grandfather always said that. You win or you learn. When you lose, you're in trouble. If you win, you can still learn. If you lose, your learning is done. So that's why you're either going to win or you're going to learn. So by those surveys, that allows us, and we don't stop with surveys. We get the survey. What do we do with the rocket referral survey? If it's a 9 or lower, we're going to call you. Hey, Nick, it's great. We really appreciate you filling out our survey. You gave us a 9. That's fantastic. But at the end of the day, we really want to earn a 10. How can we earn a 10 next time? What can we do to improve? You'll be shocked on how many people say, that's fascinating. You called me that I gave you a 9, because a 9 is pretty darn good. And what we can learn is, that's how we learned that Saturday hours were that important. So many people kept saying, we gave you a 9 because on Saturday we bought our car, but you weren't open. We've been open for over 2 years now on Saturdays. Yep. We will never close on Saturdays. My whole goal by the end of December 31st of 2019 is that we will be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for service. Because I believe it's that important.
Yeah. And your customers have given you the clues.
Correct.
That's what they want.
Yep.
You don't want to be Blockbuster. You have to listen to them and key off of their clues as to what it is that's going to make them happy.
But that's why you nailed it, Nick. You said through an article or a quote that a master marketer said, hey, your brand is got to be built around the customer, and the customer helps create your brand. Yes. So listen, the independent agency, I was just sat at the advisory board at Rough Notes the last couple of days, and we had a lot of conversations about where do you think we're missing, meaning agencies, independent agents, how can we gain market share? Well, first of all, if we're going to gain market share, what do you think the percentages are that the average agency is open from 9 to 5?
Huge. Well, yeah. Most of them probably operate default. We're going to be open 9 to 5, 5 days a week.
Correct. So that is an issue right there. Because if you're open from 9 to 5, let's ask the next question is, how many of your customers do you think work 9 to 5?
Almost all of them.
So how can we give a great customer experience if we're only open while they're working?
Hey.
One. And I'm not saying whether you're right or wrong. Some agents are going to think this is, I don't like this because of this. It's Chris Paradiso does not like being open more hours because it costs more money. But Chris Paradiso has to be open more hours because that's what the customers want. And we're going to either be an agency that works for our team, or do we work for our customers? You can't be both. You can kind of blend both, but you can't be both. Because most people would love to have summer hours 9 to 3. That doesn't work for our customers, right? Love to be shut down for lunch, a quiet lunch, let the whole office shut down. That doesn't work for our customers. So we here at Paradiso Insurance, we really thrive, and we say this. We work for the customers. Our team works for our customers. We don't work, Chris doesn't work for the other teammates, even though it's important to be a great teammate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also important to understand we have Saturday hours. And working for the team and really supporting the team means I have to pay more money on Saturdays because it shouldn't be a part of their salary, because we got to make it an incentive for them so that they give great customer service. They come in on Saturdays, they're happy, and we're taking care of customers.
Yep.
So I will assure you our agency is very focused that we work for our customers and with our customers and around their hours.
Yeah. Aside from surveys, because I'm thinking of my day-to-day business and the things that I do, I need feedback. We need feedback in order to know what we're doing, how we're doing, what can we improve upon. I find it invaluable that, you know, we've been able to have a couple of like customer advisors, people who are actually customers of ours, but they're also advisors to us, who can be very honest, and we actually seek it out. Like, you know, take someone out to dinner and just say, what do we, you know, how can we do better? And how important is that as well? Would you recommend that?
Um, yes, because I think anytime we can learn more about our customers, as long as we don't just want to learn about them and do nothing with them. I like to say, when we learn about our customers, what are we going to do to implement to be able to give that customer experience? Listen to our customers. If I listen to you and I don't act, for example, I always say this at when I do a 2-day workshop. I say, if you do one thing, it's worthwhile. Don't come here, spend 2 days, get excited, get jacked up. We enjoy each other company. We enjoy each other, meaning all the other agents. We share stories, and then we leave and we do nothing. That's a waste of 2 days. So I would say it's the same thing. If we could take data and information of our customers and really implement to make our agencies better, then we've learned.
Yep. Okay.
Did I answer your question, or?
Yeah, you did. I just think turning over every stone is so important. And you know, what strikes me is the stuff that you're saying is not, and don't take this as an insult, it's not rocket science. It's
No, it really is.
Like you keep throwing the word customer out, customer, and it reminds me of like Southwest Airlines, right? It's,
Absolutely.
they focused on the customer, they focused on a particular niche, they didn't bend from that at all. And at the end of the day, any of their competitors could have done that.
They could have.
I forget the person that wrote In Search of Excellence, Tom Peters. And he would give lectures at business schools, and you know, MBA students or the professors would say, yeah, but you know, being good to your customers and focusing on your customers, that's not a competitive advantage. And he's like, it absolutely is, because nobody's doing it.
You're right.
That makes it a competitive advantage. And that's what strikes me about the conversation I'm having with you now is you keep using the customer and you keep throwing that in the sentence, and it's so valuable, because at the end of the day, you have to have that mindset focus. If you are properly taking care of them, if they are your prime focus and mission, everything else will sort of fall into place.
No question, because our customer is everything. We have no company without our customers, right? So here at Paradiso Insurance, we have 12 promises that we make to all of our customers. And those 12 promises are absolutely critical, that they know and understand that we have 12 promises. They know and understand what those 12 promises are, so that we can formulate, because a customer experience, have you ever really defined, and I know we've been to conferences, they define it, but at the end of the day, what is a great customer experience now?
As a customer, you know, it's I mean, I can give you like a few things. Like, I don't want to be annoyed. I want the problem solved. I want to make sure I'm being taken care of, and being taken care of means I also want to make sure I'm not being taken advantage of.
So that's your definition.
Yeah.
Now, I bet you if we asked your mom, she would say something different.
Yeah, she just wants the lowest price.
Okay, but if you ask my father, you know what he's going to say? I want the best coverage at the most reasonable rate. My father has always believed, he made me buy my first life insurance policy when I was 18. And he looked me dead in the eye and said, you will love somebody someday. You buy life insurance because of love. You don't buy life insurance for you. You buy it for love. And if you fall in love and you have kids someday, that life insurance is showing your kids and your family that you love them.
Yeah, now you're making me feel guilty. I'm going to have to go check to see what my limit is.
Think about it. So isn't it amazing on how customer experiences? They're drastically different because your expectations are so different. I mean, when I think every agency should make promises. Promises. One crazy promise we make. This is mind-boggling. This is revolutionary. I'd write this down. If and when we make a mistake, we will own it and bring a solution to the problem so that we can fix whatever issue we've created.
Mm-hmm.
We're human beings. All I've said is we're humans and we're going to make errors. And when we make an error, we're not going to lay blame. We're not going to avoid you. We may annoy you because we have to call you and disrupt your day by saying, hey, we made a mistake. But let me tell you something. We're all human beings. Let's own the mistake. If I called Nick up and said, Nick, I apologize. We added a vehicle to your car, or we forgot to remove a vehicle. We're fixing it as we speak. I will get back to you once I have all the ducks in a row and let you know when you're going to get your return check.
Better. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better that I call you and own it versus you getting your declaration page? And if you call me, which has happened,
yeah,
somehow we forgot to remove it. And sometimes it's the carrier's fault. But that doesn't mean, oh, we're going to throw the carrier on. Hey, it was a mistake. We did our part. Unfortunately, it was missed. It's computers, it's technology. I'm not laying blame. Yep. We're going to get it fixed. We're going to bring a solution. You're going to get your check back. And I was being facetious when I was saying, this is mind-blowing. It's not mind-blowing. We just want to be honest with you. If we make a mistake, we want to own it. And I tell my team all the time, own your mistakes. It only gets easier once we own it in order to fix it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. A huge problem that I think a lot of agencies fall into is, competing on price, being a quoter, someone who's just giving out quotes. Instead of, trusted advisor. Now, I'm sure there's a branding mechanism in both ways, and there's, advantages in both. But to me, it seems like most agents really hate that part of the game. So what are the types of things they should be doing to start that branding process to kind of dig themselves out of that hole?
Well, the fascinating thing you just said is most agents hate about price. First thing that we did, I hate price, okay? Because I always say, if you want to give me the cheapest, or a nice word is, I want the least expensive. Let me ask you a question, Nick. Do you want the least expensive doctor when you're going in for a quadruple? No. Why is that?
I want the right one. He's probably more expensive.
You're not going to ask for the cheapest.
No.
Now, why is it that we don't ask for the cheapest doctor, but we ask for the cheapest insurance?
Because we can't communicate the value. For a doctor,
we can't communicate the value.
Yeah.
We so choose that we do not want to challenge that.
Yeah.
So one question I would ask, and I challenge every agent, when you get a new business call, are you shopping with other agents? Yes, actually, I just hung up the phone with 2 other agencies. Nick, I'm sorry, I'm probably not the agency for you. And let me tell you why. Here at Paradiso Insurance, we want to show you options and choices. We're an independent agent. Not only options and choices, we want to take the time to educate you. And we're going to educate you by giving you options. We're going to show you what a cost-o-meter in order to rebuild your house. We're going to walk through that step. So we need time, and we also need to educate you in order to make sure that you have the right coverage at a fair price. If you want the cheapest, I'm not the agency for you. Because if you continue to shop around, you can always find cheaper, because it's like buying a pizza. I don't care if you go to Domino's or you go to Papa John's, is the pizza the same?
Roughly, yeah.
But they don't taste the same.
Yeah, they're different. It's pizza.
Pizza.
Yep.
So a homeowner's policy is a homeowner's policy, and an auto policy is an auto, but it really isn't. Mm-mm. So we just want to educate you, and we want to be fair with you, but we also don't want to make it where if you're looking for the cheapest, I'm really not your, I'm not your. That will stop the conversation right then and there. There's a lot of times I sat down with a lady on last Friday, and she says to me, and I I haven't seen her in 20 years, but I knew her. She unfortunately lost my cousin in a car accident. She was dating my cousin. God rest his soul. Good man. So she has a house, and she says, yeah, I got a renewal coming up. She has 25, 50, 25, which is the state minimum in the state of Connecticut. But she owns a house, no mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And her name is Candace. I said, Candy, I can't shop this out for you. She says, what do you mean? I want to do business with you. I said, I can't sell this coverage for you. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, why? I said, Candy, you have $25,000 of coverage if you hit another car. How many cars out there that are covered that are only worth $25,000? You hit a Cadillac Escalade, you're going to want to sue me. And now I have this on my conscience that I didn't do it right. I can't do this for you. But I can get you the right coverage. It's probably not going to be at the price that you're looking for. She looked me dead in the eye and says, do the right thing that you would do for yourself if you were in my situation. But I had to spend a half hour to understand her situation. But isn't that what we do?
It should be.
Well, we're licensed professionals. But I think we forget that.
Yeah, completely.
We're licensed professionals. Tell a customer, I am licensed, I went to school, and I do continuing education for one reason, so that I can properly give you advice. Do you go to a CPA or do you go to a bookkeeper?
CPA.
Why?
They're professional. They have,
But it's the same thing, but I challenge people all the time. And a lot of times, Nick, I'll say to them, if you're looking for price, I would ask you, when you're going to a heart doctor, you're going for surgery on your eyes, right? You want to not wear glasses. Do you think you're going to look for the cheapest eye doctor?
No.
Probably not. So I don't understand where insurance is one of the most invaluable things that we have. Because the two most expensive things in life are your working years, which is by far the most valuable thing you have in your life, right? You're going to produce for your family over the next 30 years, if you're 30 years old, 40 years that you're going to work. What's the value on that? It's millions of dollars.
Yeah.
The second is your home.
Yep.
You're in a car accident, your home is at risk. Your income is at risk even more.
Yep.
You die. I mean, what we do is so valuable. We save people's lives. We save their financial futures. We save their children's financial futures. But we don't do a good enough job educating. Because you know why? We're order takers.
Yep.
Order takers. It's not the way to succeed in insurance. It's not doing the right thing for the customer. Think about this, Nick. How many people do monoline business? A lot of agencies do monoline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Monoline business does? Tells you that you don't care about your customer. You're not willing and wanting to give them a 10 or 15 or 20% discount by bundling.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Yep.
When somebody says to me they want to do a home with me but not the auto, I can't properly insure them the right way.
Yeah, to me that wouldn't seem to make any sense whatsoever. They trust you for one thing and not the other. Yeah. That means they don't trust you.
No question. No question.
So.
I just think we really have to break it down to share with people and really tell stories. Challenge people. I mean, have you ever thought about I'll repeat for the third time about going to a heart doctor. Nobody ever questions price, ever. Never.
Yeah.
We want to go, and we want to go to the best doctor. I don't care who it is. We want the best.
Having it done right is
Absolutely.
The most important criteria.
Correct.
Almost nothing else almost matters.
It doesn't. So our approach on insurance should not be about being an order taker. We really have to change our mentality. And the biggest issue we have with changing mentality is one thing. We're competing against TV, internet, billboards, because every day, what do you see? 15 is going to save you 15.
Yeah.
Price gun, name that price. Well, the last time I did that, I called Progressive and I said, I'd like to pay $1 a year for my $5 million umbrella. Well, you can't do that. Name that price. I'm naming my price. Doesn't work that way. So I think we have to change our mentality on how we think.
Okay. Well, how about agents in order to change the way they think, in order for them to take branding and their operational excellence seriously? What sort of budget?
Budget is critical. First and foremost, if you have no budget now, this is a very simple question. I'm sorry, a very simple answer to a question that is it's a simple question, but it's a question that's avoided, never talked about, ever. First and foremost, if you have no budget, I would tell you, you still have a budget, you just don't know that you have a budget, because you can't buy business cards without having a marketing budget, because what's a business card? It's part of marketing.
Yep.
5% of gross revenues, period. That's got to be the minimum, the lowest amount you can do. If you gross $1 million, it's 5% of $1 million. You need to take that money. And what does marketing consist of? CRM tool, website, handwritten note cards, business cards. It includes everything. So 5%, I would tell you at the lowest. I would say middle of the road would be 10% if you want to grow, and you want to grow by 5 to 7%. If you really want double digits growth, if you want 15, 20, 30%, you have to look at least 15%, at least 15%. Some of my budgets in the last 5 years have been as high as 32%. So on $1 million, 32% is $320,000, and people would look at me and tell me I'm crazy. I'll look at you and tell you, when you look at residual income, if you spend $1, are you willing to break even with making $1? It's residual income. So that $1 is, we're breaking even today. We're going to make money tomorrow. I'm okay going as low as spending $1 today with making 30 to 35 cents on that $1 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because if you take and you write a home, auto, and umbrella, 3 policies, which is our goal and our focus, you have a minimum of 5 years. So in 3 years, you made your money back.
Yep.
How many people buy a business and make their money back in 3 years? That's a good business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I look at things. I can't tell you what the right budget is, because I think every agency is different. If you take Paradiso Insurance, our marketing budget is going to be significantly higher than if you take another agency that I own, for example, that I'm partners with it in BSP, Bon Giovanni, Sloan, and Paradiso. Why? Because we're integrated with an agency and a firm that did Medicare supplements and group health and group life that had 30 years of experience and 30 years of working with clients. When you're going and working with those clients, the budget can be 5%, and you can grow very, very, very fast, because you're only going after existing clients that your partner already had.
Yeah.
But if you really want growth and you don't have a med supplement agency where you really need to spend money. And I don't think agencies are spending the money that they need to spend. I think there's 2 things that, when it comes to branding and it comes to growth and it comes to marketing, there's 2 things. You need to invest in your teammates. How many people invest in sales? Oh yeah, I buy sales people. No. Invest in sales training. And secondly, marketing. You need to be marketing, not marketing to insurance companies, marketing to the public, marketing to your existing customers.
Sales training rarely happens. It's such a pet peeve of mine. And I think this goes beyond sales. I think this just goes to operational excellence. If LeBron James can hire coaches to help him with his shooting, his physical abilities, if Tom Brady hires someone to work on his mechanics, or pitcher mechanics of pitching, these are Tiger Woods needs a swing coach. If those athletes need coaches, they're at the top of their game and they need coaches. We need coaches. Like, why wouldn't a sales professional need constant fine tuning, constant role playing, scripting, working, prospecting? Like, to me, it's just and I think this goes for all operational excellence. I just think
I agree.
It should be for everybody, that you cannot get to the top of your game and stay at the top of your game.
Absolutely. Without a coach.
Without some sort of assistance. So you're constantly getting out of your comfort zone, constantly pushing yourself to, in athletics, run a faster mile, run a faster marathon, bench press a little bit more. how are you supposed to get more prospects, more revenue without someone that can be an impartial third person party that's evaluating you and saying, you might want to tweak this, your form's a little bit off, the way you handle that objection is might be off-putting, things
Totally.
like that. Just to me, it's a no-brainer, and I don't see any effort, and this is not bashing just insurance, across the entire business spectrum. You just don't see that level of commitment or investment into those kinds of skills for the team that you already have.
The really good agencies are investing. My top producer sent them to a class, a 2-day class. I belong to a group called the Greenwich Group. It's a CEO's group. There's 16, 18 of us agency owners throughout the country, 3 or 4 from Canada. We come together, we meet twice a year, and one of them is a coach. And he goes out there, and he was making good money, okay? Good money. He left there. Over the next year, he doubled his income. And over those last 3 years, he more than 5 times his income. And I'm saying, I'm looking at a 39-year-old guy saying, I mean, when I'm saying making serious money, he's making serious money.
Yeah.
All because he was able to look a coach in the eyes, tell him his issues. That coach looked him dead in the eyes and said, you're doing this all wrong. Now, he was the top producer of the 30-plus producers that were in there. Nobody was as high as him. But he wrote it down. He says, it was like getting kicked in the stomach and you takes your breath out.
Mm-hmm.
He was right. I looked at him and I said, he's right. So what he did is something so simple as relationship, relationship, relationship. So the number one thing that this coach told my guy, you need to sit down, spend 3 hours over dinner, and really get to know them. By the end of that 3 hours, the trust will be established, and just shut up and listen. And he changed his whole mentality. He does lunches on new business, because we're also going after, and he only is working with really $100,000 accounts or bigger. Lunches, which he always books for 2 hours, and dinners. And it's changed his whole way he's done business.
Amazing.
He didn't grow.
Amazing.
The young man's writing $4 to $5 million of new business a year.
Yeah.
With a retention rate of over 96%.
Amazing. So you're listening, the residuals on that, do the math. It's pretty good.
But
yeah,
there's a guy that was top of his class, but listened, implemented, and literally still calls him and says, hey, I just want to pick your brain.
Yeah.
I don't care how much money or how good. The best and the best. I'll always say, you can either be the Allen Iverson or the Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal, what did he say? I stink at shooting free throws. I would look at him and say, no, you stink at practicing free throws.
Yeah.
If you had the Allen Iverson. Practice.
Yeah.
This. Practice.
Yep.
I'd say, Mr. Iverson, how many championships did you win? 0? Okay. Do you think Michael Jordan, after he won a championship, he worked harder? Tom Brady's of the world, if you want to learn, and I'm not a Patriots fan, but if you tell me you don't like Tom Brady, something's wrong. That's like saying you don't like Jerry Rice. These guys have outworked their competition.
Yep.
They outworked, they outsmarted, and what they know, and we only have one control of one thing in life, our work ethic. If you're willing to outwork your competition, you will win. And if you don't win, you'll learn. And that's the only thing that Tom Brady's outworked he isn't more talented. The guy can't run very well. He never could. He was one of the slowest guys in the pocket for throwing the ball, and they said he'll never make it. It's like Dustin Pedroia for the Red Sox. Too small. Oh, yeah? Tell Dustin Pedroia he's too small.
Yep.
Outworked, listened, and hired coaches. You only get better.
Amazing stat, right? Because Rob Gronkowski just retired.
29.
It started listing like all of these people who are retiring. It's like Tom Brady's outplayed them all. Rob Gronkowski was in middle school when Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl championship. Rob Gronkowski worked his way up into the NFL, retired, and Tom Brady's still there. It's just like absolutely amazing.
Everybody doesn't want everything. I have a really good young agent that says to me, Chris, I feel like I'm letting you down. I said, Steven, first of all, I've known you since you were 5. I love you, but you're not letting me down. You in your life, you don't want to work 20 hours a day. I want to work 20 hours a day. I love what I do. It's not a pat on my back. I don't consider what I do working 20 hours a day, but I do work 20 hours a day. If you said from the time I leave that, you know, I do. But you may not want to do that, and that's okay. I have to look back and say, everybody is different. Rob, you talk about Grunk. At 29, his body's beat up. Dustin Pedroia's body's beat up. They may want to go, like Dustin wanted to be with his family. We can't criticize him. But I look at a Tom Brady, and I have a lot of personality like him. Obviously, never will be as great as him. But personality, in a sense, is when you win, you want to win again. And I understand almost to a fault how competitive he is, that I am the same way. To a fault.
Yep.
But he is not going to be happy just riding off. He's going to want to take his next, just like LeBron James. LeBron James is already a businessman. He went to LA. I think he tarnished his image, not making the playoffs for the first time in years. And he's making movies. He's doing this. He's doing that. But he's preparing himself for life after basketball.
Yep.
What I appreciate about Tom Brady is he never settles. He wins a championship. You know what he does? He works hard. Jerry Rice works hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jerry Rice has a well-known reputation for no one could keep up with his off-season workout schedule. It's just a monster. Yeah, absolutely. Out of respect of time, I'm going to transition over to a couple personal questions.
Perfect.
You work 20 hours a day, so you must have tools or techniques that you use to stay productive and or organized. What are they?
First thing I do every single day, absolutely a must. I take 20 minutes and go to YouTube and look for a motivational. Sometimes it's TED Talks. I love motivation, and motivation in the senses of life motivation. Why am I living the life that I'm living? Why am I working 20 hours a day? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Sounds kind of crazy, but I need to keep my mind focused. So motivation is really, why I do what I do. I work hard for my kids and my family. My kids are my world. But I also know that I need to be there for them, right? So motivation really needs to keep me laser focused on business and life. It's probably 60% life, 40% business. But every day I have to spend 20 minutes every single day. The other thing I do a half hour every single day is I read. I will tell you, if you're not reading, you're losing. And you're not only losing, you're cheating yourself. Very wise man always said, the smartest people in the world just continue to read, because reading is about learning. It's about being better. It's about getting better. It's about not accepting where you are today. No matter how good you are, you can always be better. And it's a passion in my life. My passion in my life is, can I positively affect one person every single day? It's something I strive every single day. So I do have my kids doing the same thing. We write down at the end of the day an appreciation. What did we do today that we're really appreciative? And then at the end of the year, we actually go through them and reread them, and we talk. Nice. So whether we said, hey, for Chris's birthday, my son really wanted to go out, and he wanted to go target shooting, and he wanted some training. And how awesome was it that I was able to show him safety on a new Smith & Wesson MP 22, right? So we look back. Now I have pictures, and we actually create, every year since my kids are born, I've created a book, 40 to 50 pages, and it has pictures of all the different things we did for the year. I'm really passionate about looking back at pictures. Unfortunately, lost my mom a few months ago, and looking back at all the positives, all the impact. If you said to me, a buddy of mine said to me the other day, I lost my dad 40 years ago. I still think about him every day. I looked him in the eyes and I said, if you have a tear in your eye, he had the most powerful impact.
Yeah.
30 years later, you're 72. You lost him at a young age. We're 30 31 years old, and he still comes to your mind. That is a parent that had a positive impact. And that's what I want to do on my kids.
Yeah.
I want them to have a tear in their eye 50 years later that I was able to have such a positive impact in their life, not just on their life. Can we impact, I want to make a difference in the insurance space. I don't like some of the things that are going on, the politics inside the insurance space. What can I do to have a positive impact on people's lives and on the industry as a whole? Not for them to say they remember, oh, Chris did this. It's not about Chris. It's about an industry that gives back. We make a difference every single day in every county, in every town in this country. Independent agents are the most given people in this country. You can't take another industry that says, who supports Little League? There isn't a town in this country that doesn't have an independent agent that puts their name on something. Not because we're going to get business out of it, because you know darn well you're not getting business out of it. You're not. You're doing it because you want to give back to the community. You want to be a part of the community. That's why we do it. And that's real me. Some people like it, some people don't. And at the end of the day, I'm okay with it because I'm living my life trying to make a difference. And you should never go through life trying to appease everybody. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. I love that. You said you were a reader. Last question is, are there any books that you have found to be most influential in your business and or personal lives that you'd like to recommend?
There is a million books. I'm just looking around. What's the most recent book sitting right here? And I'm only going off most recent. If you go in business, The Power of Human Connection, how relationship marketing is transforming the way people succeed. Cody Bateman, Bateman. I would tell you, unbelievable book, business book. You want a personal book? A really good book I really enjoyed was Escaping the Herd, and it's escaping me what the lady's name. What was her name? And it really talked about how you want to be the purple cow in the pasture, right? And I purple cow only because I was sitting with Scott Addis yesterday, and Scott Addis has a brilliant workshop, just as Roger Sickens has a brilliant workshop. If agents want to get better, Roger Sickens has one down in Florida in April, phenomenal. Scott Addis is having them all the time, called the purple cow, because don't you want to be a purple cow? Escaping the Herd really talked about how can we separate you from everybody else. And really, what did we spend most of the time talking about is branding. And I did a class for State Farm. They were all State Farm people. And the fascinating thing is 95% of them came in with red shirts, State Farm, and they had khakis on. So, what separates you from the guy next to you? You look alike, you dress alike, you have the same red t-shirt, you both have khakis. And he's like, service. Oh, really? Who gives better service? I said, you look at the guy next to you and tell him you give better service than he does. I do. Tell him how. Couldn't do that. You both have the same hours. You both have the same product. But you know what's different? Your brand. Your brand. What do you stand for? Do you stand for the military? Do you stand for the flag? Do you stand for your community? Do you believe in shopping local? Do you eat, no farms, no food? That's a brand. Who are you and what you are and what you stand for separates you from the guy next to you. Nothing else. Because you all sell the same product, the State Farm product. And it was fascinating because several of them reached out to me afterwards and said, you really hit me where it counts. We all looked alike. I'm looking in there. We all have that same red shirt on. Mm-hmm. But we're all so drastically different. Our service is all different. Some is proactive. Some are making renewal calls. Some aren't. But that's what separates us. Escaping the Herd. And I'm sorry if we Google it.
That's okay. I'll put it on the show notes. I'll find it. I'm pretty good with that. Do me a favor.
Sure.
When you do your little exercise with your children about what kind of impact and things you were proud of, write it down. You made an impact on me today. Very much so. So thank you very much for taking time out of your day, and very passionate message about branding and that sort of differentiation. I love it. It really It really hits home.
Be real, be you. That's all, you know.
Be real, be you. I like that. My guest this week has been Chris Paradiso. Chris, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.